Um, any questions for me? Yeah.
I'm interested in how you get your clients, like, and kind of the frequency of how you get them.
I have the website, I have the YouTube channel, and usually that's a pretty good way to. I've gotten a lot of clients from that, but most of it's word of mouth, to tell you the truth. I would need to. I'm looking at kind of advertising, maybe go on a ResearchGate a little bit, but I think the YouTube's a good format for me. So is the Facebook page. You always got to have a website for sure, and then just ask around. Yeah.
So when you analyze someone's data for them and a publication spins out of it, do you get or want an authorship, or do you sort of stay behind the scenes?
No, I totally want on the paper.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah, unless it's bad, and I have totally taken my name off papers, for sure, and that happens a lot. And that's kind of the thing. What you find is, if you're the bioinformatician, you're kind of like the accountant. Like, you know what's really going on. And some of the CEOs try to say a certain thing, but you as the accountant are like, no, the books don't say that. So sometimes I'm just like, I'm not going to be on this. It is. I think publications are great. But what I do think is it's really nice to be able to, like, I'm working for a company now. You know, they're basically trying to figure out what yeast produces the most isobutanol for jet fuel. It's GEVO. And so I'm kind of trying to characterize these strains, you know, and when I first did it, I had this whole write-up. It looked like a grant. And they're looking at me like, dude, we just wanted a yes or no. Why are you doing this? I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I forgot. You don't have to publish. So it is nice, you know. I like publications, but at the same time, I don't really care. Yeah?
How do you decide what to charge?
That's a good question. Usually, if it's just an hourly basis, I try to charge $250 an hour, which is pretty good. For average projects, usually I won't do anything for less than $2,000. And a lot of my projects, I go, you know, basically they, you know, how much do you charge? And I say, I don't do anything less for $2,000. And people are like, so you're gonna do it for $2,000? I'm like, yeah, I guess so. So I would say most of my jobs, you know, like the little ones are about $2,000, but for some of these companies can be, you know, I've been working for GEVO for like a year and a half, and they're kind of paying me every month. So I think that's the key. Is what you want to do is you want to get in with somebody, a company. Companies are the best, or even at like a very prosperous lab. The key is to find people with money. That's exactly what it is. And once you find somebody with money, do a good enough job so they want to keep coming back to you. And I think I've done that. And I've had a lot of relationships. If you look at my publication history, lots and lots of people I've worked with over many, many publications. So, yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that transition from working in the academic world to sort of owning your own company? And were there things that you wish you had known ahead of time? Or like, what was that transition like?
Scary. Yeah, it's tough, especially, you know, because I pretty much spent my whole career in academia, and I think that the hardest thing is there's just so many little things you got to do. Like, you got to register your company, and then you got to get a business account, and then you got to do this, and then, you know, if you hire somebody, you got to have them fill out a 1099, and, you know, deep down, all I really wanted to do was be a scientist. You know, I just want to do science. I never wanted to be a businessman. I never wanted to be an author. But you kind of have to do that. And so I think it's very easy to go out on your own. Like, for me to get my license, to get my own basically tax number for my company, it was like $55, right? So that's basically at your essence, that's all you need. After that, I mean, there's just a lot of little things that you have to be aware of, for sure. Like I said, it can be very rewarding, and just like you were mentioning, like it's hard sometimes finding jobs, and that as you're working on one project, you have to be looking for your next job as well. And I think that's the thing that really, I wish I had known before. Like you get all these jobs, you're like, oh, I'm set. And then they go away and you're like, oh crap, I have no jobs. So, but you know, I don't know if I could go back again. You know, it's been very convenient just to work at home and to be my own boss and not have to, you know, put up with anybody's crap. So, yeah.
Do you handle your own data storage, and do the costs come from you, or are they usually covered by people who contract you?
You know, honestly, the storage part is pretty easy. I mean, data storage now is getting so cheap. So what I also do is I use the cloud a lot, and it all depends on whose project it is. Sometimes it'll be password protected, but most of the stuff I try to put in the cloud. I have a bunch of terabyte, you know, external hard drives that I store stuff on too. But yeah, data storage really isn't much of an issue. I mean, this is my office basically, you know, and I can do all kinds of stuff with this. I think the hardest part is mapping and aligning. Is that what you really need the computer power for is, so when we sequence something, you know, picture a house and you basically break it down to the point where it's toothpicks, and then you copy those toothpicks, and then you try to put the house back together again based on an idealized instructions on a house. That's sequencing in general. That's basically what it is. So when you're putting that house back together, and obviously some of the toothpicks don't match your idealized version, and those are actually the interesting bits. You need a lot of computer processing power to do that. That these files that we get for like an average human would be probably 5, maybe 10 gigabytes. So you have all those. So basically you need these clustered computers to basically take all those reads and basically map it back to the human genome. Yeah.
So do you have your own sort of cluster setup, or do you use someone else?
Eventually I probably will, but right now I'm just using someone else's. So BaseSpace, the Illumina company, they have their website. You can go up there, and now it's actually, you can get an account for free. They have like data limits, but if you're really creative, you could just throw one on and then take it off and put another one on. I've done that. Or what's nice is I do video, so I've kind of known a lot of a lot of my software I get for free because I do videos on it. So for Illumina, I'll probably ask them here in a little bit for a professional version of that. Some of this software though, especially if you're academics, probably won't cost you more than $2,000 a year, which is like in the grand scheme of things is pretty cheap. You know, $2,000 for access to basically everything that's ever been put on Gene Expression Omnibus and TCGA. I mean, that's pretty awesome. So, yeah.
What software do you use for mapping and aligning?
I think everybody's mainly using Star now because it's quicker. BWA does a good job. That's another problem too. It's the algorithms too will take up so much computer power. So a lot of it's picking an algorithm that will do a good job but do it quickly, and so that's a lot of what we do. So yeah, I would say Star Aligner is probably the one I use the most. Yeah.
Do you have employees that you hire, or is it just maybe
Besides my cats? Sometimes I do, and I don't have anybody permanent, but I do have. I don't have any permanent, but I will like. Some of the specialty jobs, like I just had one where I was doing a genome. I had to do a custom genome. So basically the Gevo people, that company I'm working for, they have a yeast, and then they threw in like 10 different bacterial genes in there. And so it's not a yeast really, but you have all these different genes in there. And so you can't just map it back to your like S. cerevisiae. You have to like build a custom like annotation to map it back to. So I had to get somebody to do that, and he wasn't cheap. But yeah, I will actually hire out for sure. Any other questions? All right, well, thank you very much. And I have cards here if you have, if your lab group or something needs any data analytics done, please look me up. It will cost you at least $2,000. Thank you very much.